going to feel by the time the kids are going to be out trick-or-treating, and I'm sure you parents are going to be joining them as well, so you'll want to make sure that you're not only staying dry but also bundled up just a little bit more, because we're going to be talking about a pretty strong cold front rolling through. We're feeling the effects of the last cold front that rolled in on Friday. Certainly some cooler air in place today. We've got a few of those clouds that you can see from our tower camera, but for the most part it's just kind of waiting on that cloud cover to clear out. Once it does, because winds are very calm right now, it is going to lead to some pretty chilly temperatures. In fact, some of us have already started to make that dip into the 30s. Have a feeling more of us are going to be joining you folks as we kind of head into the early hours of tomorrow. But it really is just one more day that we're dealing with some of this cooler air before we eventually start to work in much warmer air. And that is really going to kind of send us back to what we were enjoying this last week, with temperatures mid to upper 70s before it all kind of comes crashing down on Thursday as we do track a bigger cold front making its way into the area. As for right now, if you're out and about still because maybe you've got to run the dog outside one last time for the evening, you'll notice a definite chill back in the air. Temperatures are mid to upper 30s, about lower 40s for most of us at this point. And I have a feeling as we kind of continue to lose what little bit of cloud cover we have out there now, it is going to continue to make that pretty definite drop into the 30s for many of us. So expect a little bit of a frosty start come tomorrow morning. If you're closer to the lake shore, you'll air more on the side of the mid to upper 30s, inland about low to mid 30s by the early hours of your Sunday. If you're out tailgating first thing in the morning ahead of tomorrow's Browns game, definitely want to make sure you have the coat at least handy initially. Once you get to the midday hours, temperatures are going to be warming back into the mid 50s. You'll have sunshine, and of course that definitely helps out the temperature this time of the year. If you are headed to the game, going to be down in downtown kind of enjoying watching the Browns take on the Ravens, this is pretty much what you can expect from pretty much start to finish. Temperatures mid 50s, upper 50s once you get towards the later part of the afternoon. And if you're away from the lake shore, maybe we get a couple locations that are back into the lower 60s, but it's honestly going to feel a lot like how today did. And then we're going to slowly start to see things changing as we walk into the early part of the work week. Monday temperatures mid 60s, and then here come the 70s. How long that 70-degree air will last as we look ahead towards the beginning of November, we'll walk you through that part of the forecast coming up. Well, as we look ahead towards wrapping up the weekend and into early next week, there are a lot of changes that are coming back to the forecast. Not quite so much in the immediate term. We are going to be talking about more fall-like weather on the way for tomorrow. So if you stepped outside today, didn't mind that temperature mid to upper 50s, that's exactly what we're going to be seeing once again headed into tomorrow. But early this next week, everything starts to feel more so like the early fall season rather than where we should be now that we're approaching the last several days of October. And with it comes a lot more wind. We need some extra help this time of the year to bring that temperature back into the 60s and 70s, but everything will start to come crashing by the time we get into Thursday. That's a cold front that's on the way, and it will not only bring wind back to the region once again, but it's also going to bring us some better opportunities for some rain. Thankfully, though, rain not a big issue for us as we look ahead towards tomorrow. If you're headed downtown for the Browns-Ravens game, again, kickoff is at 1. Temperature's going to feel very fall-like right around that noon hour or so. We're going to be back into the mid 50s, and then through the game, you'll maybe notice a degree or two of difference by the time the game is wrapping up, close to about 4 or 5 o'clock, but it's not going to be a huge difference. Most of us will be sitting, again, that mid to upper 50-degree range as high pressure starts to take control. But there's a couple of different systems rolling in. One is on Tuesday. That one won't have a huge impact on us here locally. It's this one that's still off the west coast that's actually going to be one of our bigger weather makers by the time we get into the middle to later part of this next week. What that initial system will do on Tuesday is actually help to bring our temperature back into the mid 70s, but also create a little bit more wind for us. So if you're trying to do some leaf pickup because maybe you've noticed the piles starting to collect in your yard, you've got a couple of days to do that tomorrow into Monday. But once you get into Tuesday, I'd honestly say just table it until we get into early this next weekend because of how active our weather pattern is going to be, and it is going to keep some of those gustier conditions around. In terms of what the wind will do for us, though, It's what helps to bring that temperature well into the 70s and potentially even close to 80 degrees by Wednesday. You'll notice that daytime high well above average for this time of the year, almost 20 degrees above average, in fact. And by Thursday, I do think we'll still hit the 70s at least briefly through the early part of the afternoon. But the second that cold front starts to come in, it will start to send your temperature tumbling a bit more. So do keep that in mind as you look ahead towards some trick-or-treat plans. Unfortunately, this year, we will have to talk about some rain chances. And I do think the timing for that will mainly be afternoon into the evening. And that is going to be our next best rain chance. You'll see I have a rain chance said for Tuesday. For the most part, this isn't going to have a huge impact on a lot of us, but I just can't rule out that as that system passes to the north, it doesn't try to squeeze out a couple showers across some of our northern counties. Keep that in mind for Tuesday, again, knowing that most of us will stay dry as that system continues to clear to the northeast. We stay dry through the middle part of the work week, enjoying some sunshine, and again, a lot more wind in the forecast. But it's really that next big cold front that comes in on Thursday. That's going to have the bigger impact for us if we're going to be out and about. This is 8 o'clock in the morning. Everything is on the quiet side. The timing of this will be very key to watch over the next couple of days. But a lot of the guidance says probably mid-afternoon or so, likely seeing that cold front roll through. And the question is, how quickly can it pass so that we can clear out on the backside of that system? By 9 o'clock, some of us may still be dealing with rain, but it's just a question of how quickly, again, that system will move through and eventually give us some of those drier conditions. I can't rule out a few lake-enhanced showers on the backside of this system Friday, but really the bigger impact for us will be the cooler air that starts to settle in. It's a little bit of a reset for us headed into next weekend, as temperatures will be back into about the low to mid 50s, keeping an eye on another rain chance possible by next Sunday.